Hey everyone, this is Eric at Thunder Mountain Bikes, and today we're going to be doing a SRAM transmission install video. We have here an Evo following with a GX transmission kit, and I'm going to run you step by step through how to install it. It's a spread of the tools we use to install the transmission parts. We have a torque wrench here with an 8mm bit. This is going to install your crankset as well as the derailleur. I have a 3-way here, 5mm for the wheel axle, cassette tool, chain breaker, and also a power link plier to connect the chain when it's cut and installed. The crankset and cassette of the transmission Grupo get installed like previous SRAM components. No change to their install, but they do have fresh new looks. So the real first step is going to be installing the derailleur back here at the end of the bike. The first step for installing the derailleur is going to be removing your derailleur hanger. You're going to be putting in the bushing. You're going to slip the derailleur over your frame. You're going to take the fixing bolt, apply grease to it, and then thread it in with an 8mm wrench. Once you bring it to about hand tight, place your wrench in like a parallel manner. Then you're going to back it off one full rotation. Once your derailleur is installed, you're then just going to install your back wheel back into the frame. Kind of have the same concept with the axle here. Once you bring it to about hand tight, you're then going to back off one full rotation. Once we got the back wheel on the bike, the next thing that we're going to do is connect the derailleur to the shifter pod. First thing you do is you're going to hold the axis button down here on the derailleur until you see the green light start to flash. Next up, we're going to do the same thing up here on the shifter pod. Once the green light's flashing on the shifter pod, come back to the derailleur, click the button one time. The green light will flash once, and it should be connected. Once you have your derailleur and shifter paired, the next step is going to visit SRAM's transmission chain and setup key guide, which is an app you could find online. That is going to give you the information pertaining to your bike, its frame size. That's going to include which setup cog you're going to use on the cassette, which setup key guide you're going to use on the derailleur, as well as the overall chain length. When you are going to get online to check out the transmission chain and setup key guide, you could do a quick Google search for that. It should be one of the first couple links there to find it. Once you have the page loaded, first step is to select the bike brand that you have. So we're using an Evo following. And it's in a frame size large. Last part is to put in the chainring size that's on your cranks. Once you click submit at the bottom of the page, the screen that pops up is going to give your setup key position for your derailleur, the amount of links you're going to cut the chain to, the 2 different chainring sizes that work with this setup, as well as the setup cog on the cassette. So the first thing we're going to do after using the setup guide is adjust the setup key position on the derailleur. There's 2 positions, A or B, and for the Evo following, we need to be in position B. So you're going to take your setup key, you're going to line the little plastic groove here with position B. You can see that's aligned with A right there. Simply flipping it around with position B. Now your derailleur might come in the right position out of the box. If you need to change it, you can use something like a small flathead screwdriver, pop it out of place, and put it in the correct position. Once you got the derailleur and the proper setup key back here, next thing that we're going to do is cut the chain to length. This is also explained in the transmission setup key guide online. And for the following frame size large, this chain is going to get cut to 116 links. Once you have your chain cut, and before you put it on the bike, First thing that we're going to do is shift the derailleur into the proper setup cog on the cassette. For the evil here, according to the transmission setup key guide, we need to install the chain on the 21 tooth cog. So to position the derailleur to the 21 tooth, we're going to shift the pod 5 clicks. Once we have the setup key flipped back here on the derailleur to the proper position, which is B, you're going to pull back on the derailleur cage, and you're going to push in the cage lock right here in the first notch, which is going to place the derailleur into the setup mode. Right, so we have the derailleur set up in the proper position. Now we're going to install the chain. Once your chain is installed, the next thing we're going to be doing is essentially torquing down the derailleur in its proper position. Before you tighten the derailleur down, you're going to grab the cage, you're going to pull back somewhat firmly, not crazy tight, until all this chain slack goes away. Once you have the derailleur in place, you tighten your derailleur down by hand. You're going to see the inner derailleur cage plate at the fixing position. These two lines are going to align together, and that's essentially what's going to be setting the derailleur in the proper place. And the derailleur's proper torque is 35 Newton meters. Once the derailleur is tightened down, and before we tighten down the wheel axle, we're going to just push the cage forward a little bit to unlock the derailleur from the setup position. Is going to be tightening down the wheel axle. While you're doing this, make sure that the inner fixing bolt, the inner plate and the outer plate, the lines are staying lined up together. And that's all there is to set up the transmission. If you have any questions about install or about the parts themselves, contact us at Thunder Mountain. And if you're thinking about getting some of these parts for yourself, check out Thunder Mountain Bike's web store. We have complete group sets from GX all the way to XX, and as well as standalone parts like the cranks, cassettes, the pod shifters, which are all intercompatible with each other. So you can mix and match with whatever suits your needs.